Commander Jin stepped off the transport shuttle and into the gleaming corridors of Space Station Harmony. The metallic walls hummed with quiet energy, and through the massive viewing windows, stars stretched endlessly in all directions. This wasn't his first assignment in deep space, but it was definitely his most important one. Jin adjusted his blue uniform and checked his mission briefing one more time. He was here as part of something historic, the first joint research mission between humans and the Venth species. 2 years ago, these same aliens had been shooting at human ships. Now they were supposed to work together like old friends. Jin wasn't sure how he felt about that. The station's AI announced his arrival with a pleasant chime. "Commander Jin, please report to Research Bay 7 for partner assignment." He followed the glowing floor markers through corridors filled with beings from a dozen different worlds. Traders, diplomats, and scientists all mingled together in this neutral zone where old enemies could meet safely. Research Bay 7 turned out to be a bright, clean laboratory with equipment Jin didn't recognize. Standing beside a complex molecular scanner was his new partner. His first real look at a Venth up close. She was about his height, but that's where the similarities ended. Her skin looked like living crystal, shifting from pale blue to soft green as she noticed him enter. It was beautiful and unsettling at the same time. "You must be Commander Jin," she said in perfect English, though her voice had a musical quality that no human throat could produce. "I am biochemist Nari. I have been looking forward to working with a human researcher." Jin extended his hand for a handshake, then paused, unsure if that was appropriate. Nari smiled, at least he thought it was a smile, and clasped his hand briefly. Her skin felt smooth and slightly warm, like polished stone in sunlight. "The feeling's mutual," Jin replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. "I've read your research on molecular bonding. Pretty impressive stuff." Nari's skin shifted to a warmer golden tone, which Jin guessed meant pleasure or pride. Reading alien emotions through color changes was going to take some getting used to. They spent the morning reviewing their joint assignment, analyzing mineral samples from a newly discovered planet that might hold the key to faster space travel. The work was fascinating, and Jin found himself genuinely impressed by Nari's quick thinking and innovative approaches to problems. By midday, they had made good progress and decided to take a break. The station's common area served food for dozens of species, with special dietary requirements clearly marked. Jin grabbed a standard human meal pack while Nari selected something that looked like glowing soup. "To new partnerships," Jin said, raising his nutrition drink. "To understanding between our peoples," Nari replied, lifting her own container. They drank together, and for a moment, Jin felt genuinely optimistic about this whole arrangement. Maybe humans and Venth really could work together. Maybe the war was truly behind them. Then the world started spinning. Jin's vision blurred as a sharp pain shot through his stomach. Across the table, Nari was having it much worse. Her crystalline skin flashed violent red patterns, the color of pain, he realized with growing horror. She tried to speak, but only managed a choking sound before collapsing forward onto the table. Jin felt dizzy and sick, but he could still think clearly. Something was very wrong with their food. This wasn't an accident. Someone had poisoned them both. Jin's training kicked in as he watched Nari's body shake uncontrollably. Her skin flashed between deep red and sickly yellow, colors he'd never seen from her before. Whatever was happening to her was far worse than what he was experiencing. His stomach burned and his head pounded, but he could still move and think. "Help!" Jin shouted across the common area. "Medical emergency!" Other beings scattered away from their table, some pointing and talking in languages he didn't understand. Jin didn't have time to wait for help that might not come. He scooped Nari into his arms, surprised by how light she felt despite her crystalline appearance. Her translator device had gone silent, replaced by weak clicking sounds from her throat. Her eyes rolled back, showing only white, and Jin felt panic rising in his chest. He'd seen poison victims before during the war, but never someone he actually cared about. The medical bay was 3 levels down from the common area. Jin ran through corridors while station alarms began blaring overhead. Word was spreading fast that something bad had happened. He burst through the medical bay doors just as Dr. Park, the station's chief medical officer, was pulling on his gloves. "What happened?" Dr. Park asked, gesturing Jin toward an examination table. "Poisoned," Jin gasped, laying Nari down carefully. "Both of us, but she's much worse." Dr. Park immediately began scanning Nari with a handheld medical device, but his frown deepened with each reading. "The scanner can't get proper readings on her physiology. Venth biology is too different from what our equipment is designed for." Jin felt helpless as he watched Nari's convulsions grow weaker. That wasn't a good sign. It meant the poison was winning. Her skin had settled into a dull grey color that looked disturbingly like death. "What about the medical AI?" Jin asked. Desperately, Dr. Park was already typing commands into the main computer. "Medical AI, analyze symptoms and identify possible toxins affecting both human and Venth physiology." The AI's calm voice filled the room. "Insufficient data on Venth biological systems. Cannot provide treatment recommendations for non-human patient. Human patient shows signs of neurological toxin exposure, but symptoms are mild compared to expected parameters." Jin wanted to punch the wall. The most advanced medical AI in this sector was useless because nobody had bothered to program it with alien medical knowledge. The peace between humans and Venth was so new that basic things like medical compatibility hadn't been worked out. "Yet, wait," Dr. Park said, studying his readings more carefully. "Your symptoms should be much worse. This toxin is specifically designed to shut down nervous systems in both species. You should be unconscious or dead by now." Jin looked down at his hands. They were steady even though he felt sick. "Maybe I got a smaller dose?" "No, you both drank the same amount. I can see the toxin in your bloodstream, but your body is fighting it off somehow." Dr. Park's eyes widened with realization. "Jin, I think you might be naturally immune." Before Jin could process what that meant, the medical bay doors burst open. 3 station security officers rushed in, weapons drawn. Their leader, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms, looked around suspiciously. "Nobody leaves this room," the security chief announced. "We've found traces of silent death in the common area food dispensers." Jin's blood ran cold. Silent. Death was legendary among military personnel. A biotoxin so deadly that just a few drops could wipe out an entire ship's crew. It was banned by every civilized government in the galaxy. Someone with high-level access did this, the security chief continued grimly. "The food dispensers require command codes to tamper with. This was an inside job." Jin refused to leave. Nari sighed, even as Dr. Park worked frantically to keep her alive. Her skin had turned an alarming shade of pale grey, and the medical monitors showed her vital signs dropping steadily. Every few minutes Jin would squeeze her hand gently, hoping for some response, but her fingers remained limp and cold. "I need to find whoever did this," Jin told the security chief, "while she's still alive to save." The security chief, who had introduced himself as Commander Vex, nodded grimly. "The kitchen staff is being held in Conference Room B, but Commander Jin, you should know. You're technically a victim here too. Maybe someone else should handle the questioning." Jin stood up, his jaw set with determination. "I'm the only human on this station right now. If someone is targeting human-alien partnerships, I need to understand why." He looked back at Nari, whose breathing had become shallow and irregular. "Besides, I'm running out of time." Conference Room B held 5 nervous-looking kitchen workers from different species. Jin had worked enough investigations during the war to recognize fear when he saw it, but he also knew how to spot guilt. He started with the human cook, a middle-aged woman named Mrs. Kim, who had been working on the station for 3 years. "Tell me about today's food preparation," Jin said, keeping his voice calm but firm. Mrs. Kim's hands shook as she spoke. "Everything was normal, Commander. We followed all the safety protocols. The nutritional supplements came from the same suppliers we always use." "What about special deliveries? Anything unusual in the past?" "Weak?" She hesitated for just a second too long. "Well, there was one shipment that came with special handling instructions. High security seal. Required supervisor approval to open." Jin felt his pulse quicken. "Where did it come from?" "The shipping manifest said it was medical supplies from the Roth Empire. Vitamins and supplements for diplomatic personnel." Mrs. Kim's face went pale as she realized what she was saying. Oh no, I think I might have... The Roth Empire. Jin's blood ran cold. They were a militant faction that had opposed every peace treaty between humans and other species. If they were involved, this wasn't just about him and Nari. This was about destroying diplomatic relations entirely. Jin immediately contacted Station Intelligence and requested a sector-wide search for similar incidents. What he found made his stomach turn. In the past month, 3 other poisonings had occurred at different diplomatic facilities. Each time, the victims were key figures in human-alien cooperation efforts. A human ambassador and his Zelanti aide, on Station Echo. 2 researchers, 1 human, 1 Venth, working on a joint agricultural project on New Terra. A human trader and his alien business partner on the merchant hub at Crossroads. It's a coordinated campaign, Jin realized, speaking to Dr. Park as they returned to check on Nari. Someone is systematically eliminating people who represent successful human-alien partnerships. Dr. Park was studying Jin's latest blood sample under a microscope. That's not the only pattern I'm seeing. Jin, your immunity to this poison isn't random. Your blood shows genetic markers I've never encountered before. What kind of markers? Resistance to heavy metals, industrial toxins, even some biological weapons. It's like your ancestors survived exposure to things that should have killed them. Dr. Park looked up from the microscope with amazement. Where is your family from on Earth? Jin thought back to stories his grandmother used to tell. Industrial region, in old Korea. My great-grandfather worked in chemical plants during the pollution crisis of the 2080s. Lots of people got sick, but some families seemed to adapt better than others. That's it, Dr. Park said excitedly. Your genetic line developed resistances that most humans don't have. The Roth Empire designed silent death to kill both humans and Venth, but they didn't account for humans with industrial-age genetic adaptations. A medical alarm suddenly blared from Nari's bedside. Her vital signs were crashing. Jin rushed to Nari's bedside as the medical alarm screamed warnings. Her crystalline skin had turned completely grey, and the monitors showed her heart rate dropping dangerously low. Dr. Park quickly injected stimulants to keep her vital organs functioning, but it was clear they were fighting a losing battle. How much time does she have? Jin asked, his voice tight with worry. At this rate, maybe 6 hours, Dr. Park replied grimly. The silent death is shutting down her nervous system piece by piece. Without a cure, she won't see tomorrow. Jin stared at his own hands, still steady despite having the same poison in his bloodstream. An idea was forming in his mind, dangerous but possibly their only hope. Dr. Park, if my blood can resist this poison, could we use it to help her? Dr. Park paused his work and looked at Jin thoughtfully. Theoretically, yes. If we could extract enough antibodies from your system and adapt them for Venth physiology. But Jin, the process would be extremely risky for you. What kind of risks? We'd need to draw large amounts of blood repeatedly to get enough antibodies. Your body would be under tremendous stress, and there's no guarantee it would even work. We've never tried cross-species antibody therapy before. Jin looked at Nari's still form and made his decision. Do it, whatever it takes. Dr. Park set up the blood extraction equipment while explaining the process. We'll need to cycle your blood through this machine multiple times to concentrate the antibodies. Each cycle will take about an hour and remove roughly a pint of blood. You'll feel weak, dizzy, maybe even pass out. I can handle it, Jin said, settling into the medical chair. He felt the needle slide into his arm and watched his blood flow through clear tubes into the processing machine. Just make sure it works. As the first extraction cycle began, Jin felt his strength slowly draining away, but he kept his eyes on Nari, drawing motivation from her still form. She had trusted him as a partner, and he wasn't going to let her down now. Halfway through the second cycle, Commander Vex burst into the medical bay with urgent news. Jin, we've got problems. Station sensors picked up an unauthorized ship docking at Port 7. 3 armed individuals just came aboard. They're not showing up on our crew manifests. Jin tried to sit up but felt dizzy immediately. Roth assassins? Most likely. They're probably here to finish what the poison started. Vex checked his weapon and posted 2 guards at the medical bay entrance. We're going into lockdown, but if they have inside help like before... An explosion echoed through the station. Corridors, followed by the sound of energy weapons firing. The lights flickered and emergency power kicked in with a dull red glow. "They're moving fast," Vex reported through his communicator. "Heading toward the medical section. Jin, can you move?" Jin tried to stand, but his legs gave out immediately. The blood loss was hitting him harder than expected. "I'm not going anywhere. How much longer for the antibody extraction?" Dr. Park checked his equipment nervously. "At least 2 more cycles, maybe 3 to get enough concentrated antibodies for Nari's body weight. More explosions, closer this time." Through the medical bay windows, Jin could see smoke in the corridors. Emergency lights cast eerie shadows as station personnel ran for shelter. "They know exactly where we are," Jin realized with growing dread. "Someone told them about Nari's condition and my immunity. They want to eliminate both the cure and the evidence." The sound of gunfire was getting closer. Jin closed his eyes and tried to will the blood extraction to go faster. Nari's life, and possibly the future of human-alien cooperation, depended on whether his ancient genetic resistance could be transformed into hope for both species. The medical bay doors suddenly buckled inward as something heavy slammed against them from the corridor. Jin could hear shouting voices and the distinct whine of energy weapons charging up. Commander Vex's security team was putting up a fight, but the attackers were getting closer. "Dr. Park, how much more time do we need?" Jin asked weakly. The third blood extraction had left him pale and shaky, but the antibody concentrator was still processing his blood. "The machine needs at least another hour to produce enough antibodies," Dr. Park replied, sweat beading on his forehead as he worked frantically with the equipment. "But Jin, your blood pressure is dropping too low. I don't think you can handle another extraction." A faint movement caught Jin's attention. Nari's hand had twitched slightly, and patches of her gray skin were showing hints of pale blue. She was still alive, still fighting. "Nari?" Jin called softly. "Can you hear me?" Her crystalline skin flickered with the faintest golden pattern, the color she'd shown when pleased to meet him. Even dying, she was trying to communicate. The gold shifted to deep blue, then back to gold. Jin realized she was asking a question. "Are you asking about me?" Jin guessed. The golden flicker returned. "I'm okay. We're making medicine from my blood to help you." Her skin flashed bright orange, alarm, concern. She had figured out that he was risking his life for her. "Don't worry about me," Jin said, though his voice was getting weaker. "Just stay with us." The orange patterns grew more intense, and Jin could see her trying to move her hand toward him. She was telling him to stop, to save himself. But Jin had made his choice. Dr. Park was studying the readouts from the antibody processor with growing frustration. "Jin, we have a problem. The concentration isn't high enough. Your natural immunity is strong, but not concentrated enough to overcome the poison in Nari's system." "What are you saying?" "We need to trigger your body to produce more antibodies, much more. The only way to do that is—" Dr. Park hesitated, looking uncomfortable. "Just tell me." "We'd need to inject you with a controlled dose of silent death. A small amount to make your immune system fight harder, produce more antibodies. But Jin, even a tiny miscalculation could kill you." The doors shuddered again, and this time Jin heard the distinctive sound of metal tearing. The assassins were almost through. Jin looked at Nari, whose skin was now flashing rapid patterns of orange and gold. She was trying desperately to tell him not to do it. But her vital signs on the monitor were getting weaker by the minute. "Do it," Jin decided. "Give me the poison." "Jin, this is insane. The dose has to be perfect, enough to trigger maximum antibody production, but not enough to overwhelm your natural immunity." "Then you better get it right," Jin said, extending his arm for another injection. "Because we're out of time and options." Dr. Park prepared a syringe with hands that trembled slightly. "This is the most dangerous medical procedure I've ever attempted. If I get the dosage wrong by even a fraction..." An explosion rocked the medical bay, and sparks flew from damaged equipment. Through the smoke, Jin could see armed figures in black armor moving through the corridors outside. "Now or never, Doc," Jin said grimly. Dr. Park injected the concentrated silent death into Jin's bloodstream. Immediately, Jin felt like fire was spreading through his veins. His vision blurred, and he could feel his heart racing as his immune system went into overdrive. "The antibody production is spiking," Dr. Park reported, watching his instruments. "But so is the poison level in your blood. Jin, can you hear me?" Jin's world was spinning, but he managed to nod. On her medical bed, Nari's skin was flashing frantic patterns of concern and gratitude. She understood what he was doing for her. The medical bay doors finally gave way with a thunderous crash. 3 armed figures in black combat armor stormed through the destroyed medical bay entrance. Their weapons were already charged and aimed directly at Jin and Dr. Park. Through his pain-filled haze, Jin could see the Roth Empire insignia on their shoulders, a twisted star that represented their hatred of human-alien cooperation. "Step away from the equipment," the lead assassin ordered in a cold, mechanical voice. "Our mission is to eliminate the research subjects and destroy any potential cure." Dr. Park raised his hands, but stayed close to the antibody processor. "You don't understand. We're trying to save lives here. This woman is dying." "That's the point," the assassin replied, raising his weapon. Jin tried to stand but collapsed immediately as the massive dose of silent death coursed through his system. His immune system was working overtime, but the poison was fighting back just as hard. He could feel his consciousness slipping away, but the antibody readings on Dr. Park's equipment were climbing rapidly. Suddenly, a weak voice spoke from Nari's medical bed. "Biosynthesis incomplete." Everyone turned to look at Nari, whose skin was flickering with rapid color changes. She was barely conscious, but her scientific mind was still working. With tremendous effort, she raised one shaking hand toward the medical equipment. "The molecular structure?" Nari gasped, her words coming out in broken English as her translator struggled to function. "Wrong configuration. For Venth. Physiology." Dr. Park looked confused. "What is she trying to say?" Jin forced himself to focus despite the poison burning through his veins. "She's saying the antibodies won't work on her biology without modification." Nari's skin flashed bright blue. Confirmation. With incredible willpower, she began dragging herself toward the edge of her medical bed, reaching for a portable computer that had fallen to the floor. She can fix it," Jin realized. "She knows how to adapt human antibodies for Venth biology." The lead assassin took aim at Nari. Not if she's dead. Jin summoned every ounce of strength left in his poisoned body and threw himself sideways, knocking over a medical cart that crashed into the assassin's legs. Energy bolts seared the air where Nari had been lying. Dr. Park grabbed a medical laser scalpel and activated it, creating a bright defensive barrier between them and the attackers. "Nari, whatever you're going to do it fast." Nari's fingers moved weakly across the portable computer's screen, entering complex molecular formulas. Her skin was shifting through rapid patterns, the colors of intense concentration mixed with determination. Despite being minutes from death, she was racing. To complete the cure, the assassins regrouped and advanced around Dr. Park's improvised defense. Jin could see they had grenades attached to their belts. They were prepared to destroy the entire medical bay if necessary. "Finished," Nari whispered, hitting a final command on the computer. The antibody processor immediately began reconfiguring its synthesis patterns based on her modifications. One of the assassins threw a stun grenade into the room. Jin covered his eyes as blinding light and deafening sound filled the medical bay. When his vision cleared, he saw the modified cure flowing through tubes toward Nari's IV line. But the assassins were advancing again, and this time they looked ready to finish the job permanently. Jin tried to stand one more time, his body shaking from the poison's effects. "Together," Nari said weakly, her skin showing patches of returning color as the modified antibodies began working. "We fight together." Jin grabbed Dr. Park's medical laser, while Nari used her computer to overload the room's lighting system, creating strobing flashes that disoriented the attackers. They had seconds before the assassins recovered and eliminated them both. The modified cure worked faster than anyone expected. Within minutes of the antibodies entering her system, Nari's crystalline skin began shifting from deathly gray to healthy blue-green patterns. Her breathing steadied and her eyes focused clearly for the first time in hours, but Jin was getting worse. The massive dose of silent death he'd injected was overwhelming even his natural immunity. His hands shook uncontrollably, and his vision kept fading in and out. The poison was winning. "Jin," Nari said, her voice stronger now as she sat up on her medical bed. "I need to help you now. The assassins," Jin mumbled weakly, looking toward where the Roth soldiers had retreated after Commander Vex's reinforcements arrived. "Are handled," Nari assured him, her skin flashing confident golden patterns. "But you're dying from poison overdose. Your human medicine doesn't know how to treat this." Dr. Park looked frustrated as he checked Jin's vital signs. "She's right. We know how to extract antibodies from his blood, but we don't know how to help his body process this much toxin." Nari stood up carefully, still weak but determined. "Venth biochemistry is different. We've studied toxin neutralization for centuries because our homeworld has many poisonous plants." She moved to the medical equipment with growing confidence. "I can create a compound to help his liver and kidneys process the silent death faster." Working with remarkable speed, Nari began mixing compounds using both human and Venth medical supplies. Her skin showed rapid color changes as she calculated molecular structures in her head, something no human could do. "This will help your body break down the poison," she explained as she prepared an injection. "But Jin, you need to stay awake. If you lose consciousness now, your immune system might stop fighting." Jin felt the new compound enter his bloodstream, and almost immediately the fire in his veins began to cool. His vision cleared and his hands stopped shaking. "How did you know how to do that?" "Same way you knew to sacrifice yourself to save me," Nari replied, her skin showing warm golden appreciation. "Partners help each other." Over the next few hours, as both of them recovered, they worked with station intelligence to uncover the full scope of the conspiracy. The evidence they gathered was shocking. The Roth Empire had infiltrated both human and Venth governments, placing agents in key positions to sabotage peace efforts. "Look at this," Jin said, studying the data on his computer. "They've been planning these assassinations for months. Our poisoning was just the beginning." Nari's skin flashed angry red patterns as she read the files. "They wanted to make it look like our species are incompatible for cooperation. Kill the success stories. Make everyone afraid to trust each other." But their survival had turned the tables completely. News of Jin's immunity and sacrifice spread quickly through diplomatic channels. Here was proof that humans didn't just tolerate other species, they were willing to die to protect them. Within days, medical teams across the sector were using the cure derived from Jin's blood to save other poisoning victims. The Zelanti ambassador on Station Echo recovered completely. The agricultural researchers on New Terra returned to their important work. Dozens of lives were saved because one human had unusual genetics and an unwillingness to give up. "The ironic thing," Jin told Nari as they watched news reports about their story, "is that the Roth Empire's plan backfired completely. Instead of destroying human-alien cooperation, they've made it stronger." Nari's skin glowed with soft blue. "Contentment. They forgot something important about both our species." "What's that?" "We're both too stubborn to let bullies win." The galactic response was immediate and powerful. Rather than being seen as vulnerable, humans were now viewed as uniquely valuable allies. Jin's genetic immunity became a symbol of humanity's hidden strengths, adaptations that could protect other species in ways no one had imagined. 3 weeks after the poisoning incident, Jin found Nari in Research Bay 7, working late into the station's night cycle. Her crystalline skin glowed with soft concentration patterns as she analyzed molecular structures on her computer screen. The sight had become comfortably familiar. They'd been spending almost every waking hour together since their recovery. "Still, working on the immunity project?" Jin asked, settling into the chair beside her workstation. Nari's skin shifted to warm golden tones. The color Jin had learned meant happiness and friendship. "Your blood samples keep revealing new surprises. Look at this." She pointed to a complex diagram on her screen. "Your genetic markers show resistance to at least 12 different biotoxins, not just silent death." Jin studied the data with growing amazement. My ancestors really went through hell during Earth's pollution crisis, didn't they? They survived so you could protect others, Nari replied, her skin showing deeper blue patterns of respect. The Medical Council wants to catalogue every resistance marker in your DNA. They're calling it the Guardian Gene Project. The project had grown beyond anything Jin imagined. Medical researchers from 17 different species were now studying his genetic makeup, trying to understand how human industrial evolution had created these unique immunities. The goal wasn't to copy his genes, but to develop better treatments for biotoxin attacks that might target multiple species. Speaking of the Medical Council, Jin said, I got the official assignment today. They want us to work together permanently, a joint human-Venth medical research team. Nari's entire body shimmered with excitement, cycling through rapid patterns of gold and bright blue. Really? We'll be official partners. If you want to be stuck with a stubborn human who nearly poisoned himself to death, Jin said with a grin, better than being stuck with a Venth who's too proud to ask for help when she's dying, Nari replied, her skin showing the warm colors of affection. Their partnership had already changed how medical emergencies were handled throughout the sector. Station Harmony now required cross-species medical training for all personnel. Every medical bay was equipped with alien physiology databases. Most importantly, new protocols required that any diplomatic mission include at least one person with documented resistance to common biotoxins. Commander Vex appeared in the laboratory doorway, looking pleased. Jin, Nari, I have good news. The Station Council approved all our new security recommendations. The security upgrades were extensive. All food and medical supplies now went through triple screening processes. Background checks for station personnel had been strengthened significantly. Most importantly, they'd created a rapid response team specifically trained to handle biotoxin attacks. What about the inside agents? Jin asked. Did we find all of them? The investigation is ongoing, but we've identified at least 5 Roth sympathizers who had access to critical systems. They're being questioned by intelligence officers from both human and Venth governments. Vex's expression grew serious. This conspiracy went deeper than we initially thought. The Roth Empire's network had been vast and patient. Agents had been placed in positions throughout human and alien territories, some working undercover for years. But their premature attack on Jin and Nari had exposed the entire operation. The really important news, Vex continued, is that your survival story has inspired something unprecedented. 7 different species have formally requested joint medical research programs with humans. They want to study how human genetic diversity might help protect their populations from future biotoxin attacks. Nari's skin glowed with pride as she looked at Jin. You've become a symbol of something bigger than either of us expected. Jin felt overwhelmed by the responsibility. I just wanted to save my research partner. And that's exactly why it worked, Nari replied. You didn't think about politics or species differences. You just saw someone who needed help. Their simple act of partnership, a human risking his life to save an alien colleague, had resonated across the galaxy. It proved that cooperation between species wasn't just possible, but could create strength that neither possessed alone. 6 months later, Jin stood on the observation deck of the transport ship, Unity, watching the blue-green planet Kepler Prime grow larger through the viewport. Beside him, Nari's crystalline skin showed excited patterns of anticipation mixed with nervous energy. Their new assignment was their biggest challenge yet. 3 different species working together on one research station, Jin mused, reading through their mission briefing one more time. The Kepler Joint Science Facility is supposed to be a model for future cooperation. Was supposed to be, Nari corrected, her skin flashing worried orange tones. Until the poisoning incident started happening, the reports had been alarming. Over the past month, 4 researchers at the Kepler facility had fallen mysteriously ill. All were key figures in breakthrough research projects involving multiple species. The symptoms were similar to silent death poisoning, but not identical. Someone was using a new biotoxin, one specifically designed to target the species working at Kepler Prime. The pattern is getting more sophisticated, Jin observed. First they tried to eliminate successful partnerships like us. Now they're targeting entire cooperative research programs. Their ship's captain, a friendly Zelanti named Commander Taz, approached them with the latest intelligence reports. "Jin, Nari, I've got updates from Kepler Prime. 2 more researchers were poisoned last night. A human geologist and a Venth atmospheric specialist. They're in critical condition." Jin felt his stomach tighten. "Same biotoxin?" "Unknown. The medical facility on Kepler Prime isn't equipped to handle multi-species toxicology. They've requested emergency assistance from the sector's best medical team." Commander Taz smiled. "That would be you two." Nari's skin showed determined golden patterns. "We'll need to analyze the toxin samples as soon as we arrive. If it's a variant of silent death, Jin's immunity markers might help us develop a cure." "And if it's something completely new?" Jin asked. "Then we figure it out together like we always do," Nari replied, her skin glowing with confidence. The past 6 months had made them legendary throughout the sector. Their partnership had inspired dozens of similar human-alien research teams. Jin's genetic immunity had been studied and catalogued, leading to breakthrough developments in biotoxin resistance. More importantly, their friendship had become a symbol of what different species could accomplish when they worked together. But their success had also made them targets. Intelligence reports suggested that the Roth Empire, despite their recent setbacks, was developing new biotoxins specifically designed to overcome human immunity. The attacks on Kepler Prime might be a test run for something much larger. "There's something else," Commander Taz said, his expression growing serious. "Our intelligence sources believe this isn't just about stopping cooperation between species. The Roth Empire is trying to prove that humans aren't the protectors everyone thinks they are." Jin understood the implications immediately. "They want to show that human immunity has limits, that we can't actually protect our alien partners when it really matters." "Exactly. And Kepler Prime is the perfect place to make that point. The entire galaxy is watching this joint research project. If it fails because humans couldn't protect their alien colleagues..." The transport ship shuddered slightly as it began its final approach to Kepler Prime. Through the viewport, Jin could see the research station's gleaming domes nestled among the planet's crystal forests. It looked peaceful and beautiful, but he knew danger was waiting there. "Jin," Nari said quietly, her skin showing soft blue patterns of concern, "what if your immunity doesn't work this time? What if they've developed something your genetics can't handle?" Jin thought about all the researchers counting on them, all the species working together despite the risks. He thought about the future of interspecies cooperation hanging in the balance. "Then we'll find another way," he said firmly. "Humans have always been good at adapting to impossible situations, and this time I've got the best partner in the galaxy." Nari's skin glowed with warm golden light. "Together, always together," Jin replied as their ship touched down on Kepler Prime, ready to face whatever new challenges awaited them in the endless fight to prove that cooperation was stronger than hatred.